Hello and welcome to Yucatan Today's video series featuring the unique homes and neighborhoods of Merida, Yucatan. I'm Keith Heitke, a senior sales agent with Mexico International. Today we have ventured just a couple of blocks to the east of the main square, and this is La Mejorada and the Mejorada neighborhood. So let's take a look around. The centerpiece of this park is actually this sculpture, which is dedicated to the children, the Niños Héroes of Mexico City. They helped protect the Chapultepec Castle, and practically every city has a monument to them, and the one for Merida is located here in Mejorada. One of the things you'll notice too is a lot of grand facades, just like they always used to have. Many of these have become museums over here. There's the Museum of Music. There's also several art galleries. There's also the architecture school for one of the major universities here. Just around the corner over here, actually just over at the other side of the park, is an old military barracks, and nowadays it's actually a school, and they have after-school programs as well. One of the things which we can't see today because it's gone is one of the first hospitals in Merida was located here in the 1600s. Behind me here is a music school. And besides that, around the corner is another one of these beautiful mansions, which is actually the Music Museum. There is a very famous restaurant here, one of the more famous in the whole city. It's called Los Almendros, and that refers to the trees, the almond trees. And what they do is they do very, very typical Yucatecan cuisine. Besides that, there's the most famous Spanish restaurant, El Segoviano, just over here as well. So as long as you're looking for Spanish food, you're going to be fine here. Behind me is one of the gates that people would enter when they came into Merida. There used to be several of these gates, a whole bunch of these gates, and most of them are gone. This particular street, which is 50th Street, still has a few of its gates left. What we understand now is they never really had, they were never protected. They just were more of a ceremonial, like you're coming into the city. Right over here, this is the other side of the barracks. This is where the barracks were, and nowadays it's used as a school, and there are after-school programs as well. Just behind that is the main cathedral of this particular square, this beautiful church here called La Mejorada. Next to the church is the convent. So this is what's surrounding the entire Mejorada Square. The convent was built in the late 1600s, and this also replaced the hospital that was here originally. And nowadays, this is actually an art school and the architecture school as well. Just past the park here, right on the park actually, is this beautiful Calle 57. What we have here is beautiful mansions. These were built as private homes, and today they're used as, the first one is actually a primary school, the second one is a secondary school, and down on the end of the block is another beautiful private home that nowadays is the Music Museum. So as we've seen all over Merida, you see all this beautiful old Spanish architecture. This is not Spanish at all, these three buildings that are much later. These were built very late in Merida's history. They were actually built in the early 1900s. So instead of being Spanish, they're very French in feeling. So they have a very large front yard. Even though they're right in the city, they look much more French than they do Spanish. From Mejorada Square, we're going to take a little walk just a couple of blocks over to Calle 44, and we'll take a look at a beautiful house that's been restored. So we're walking just 3 blocks from the Mejorada Park, and we're coming over here, we're on Calle 44. This house was an old Spanish colonial house, and it isn't anymore. They've actually completely transformed it. One of the reasons that they did that is because almost everything was in ruin. Of course, the rock walls were there. They're not going anywhere. They're totally there. The house was in terrible, terrible disrepair. People were still living there. It was not abandoned. But all the floors were gone, so all the pasta tile floors were not there, and the whole back of the house was really just a crumbling wreck. It isn't anymore. So they've really transformed it, and it's absolutely beautiful. Let's go in and take a look. One of the first things you notice in this house is it does have the old, very, very tall ceilings, and it is a colonial house. It was built probably in the mid-1800s. However, it's been completely transformed. One of the first things you'll notice is how high the ceilings are, but also that it has the very typical Yucatecan-type ceiling treatment. But what they've done is hack out a giant hole here, and this is actually open to the sky. It just has a screen on it so they don't have any bugs coming in, but it rains right in here. Many people who aren't really familiar with the tropics, they say, well, what happens when it rains? Well, it comes in. We have no problem with that. One of the things you'll notice too, along with the high ceilings, is that it doesn't have any pasta tile floors. The pasta tile floors were completely in ruins in this house, and they were unsalvageable. So they've sort of done an ode to the pasta tiles, and it's all cement, but now it's these giant polished cement blocks which give it a really modern feeling. But it still has the same feeling as the old houses as well. So what we have is there's 2 bedrooms in this house, and it's got a big wide open feeling. One of the things you'll see here too is that all of the walls have been scraped back to the rock. This is what's behind every house in Merida, all of the old houses, and it's really beautiful. So they've had to redo it a little bit here and there, but having it exposed gives it a really modern feeling too. The first 2 bedrooms in the front actually have 2 bathrooms that are completely wide open. You see how light and airy this is. There's also beautiful lighting in every part of this, also the very tall ceilings. And there's even closets in here. But what they do is they share actually this little garden that's behind me, so you really have an indoor-outdoor feel. So now we're outside where these bathrooms are, and this is the little garden area. So it's kind of indoor-outdoor. The whole place has that feel. And originally the house would have been very formal. Where we came in the front here, you can see that the wall was divided. So there was a very formal room originally, and now half of that is the bedroom and half of it's the entranceway. So coming around here, the beautiful floor continues out throughout the whole house. And back here, it just opens wide up to the entire beautiful backyard. We have in here another bedroom. So there are 2 main bedrooms, and then there's also a third, which could be used as a bedroom. It's almost like a den, and a third bathroom as well. The kitchen's wide open. This is, again, not at all like what they would have originally done. The kitchen was something that the maids made you something out in the back. And nowadays, what we want to do is have our friends over and entertain, and this house is wide open like that, with a very modern feeling. One of my favorite things about this redo is the way that it just feels so open. It feels very modern, all within the same casing of the original house. Up above here, we have clerestory windows that allow this air to flow through any time, also lots of light. So it's a really indoor-outdoor feeling. So you just step out here. This is the dining area. There's actually 2 dining areas in the house. This is the outdoor one. Behind here, we have washer-dryer, and then the third bathroom as well. Back here is a great pool area. It's not huge, but it's perfectly lovely and really comfortable. And all this garden they had put in not that long ago, and because we're here in the tropics, everything's really burgeoned, and it's really beautiful. Thanks for joining us. I'm Keith Heitke with Mexico International. We'll see you next time on Yucatan Today.